The James Harden era in Philadelphia is most likely over. Harden opted into the last year of his deal with the Sixers at around about $35.6 million is what Harden will make next year. There have been reports and rumors out there about James Harden potentially returning to Houston to play for the Rockets once again. Obviously, the spot where James' career really catapulted to MVP levels, Hall of Fame levels. For Harden, though, he opted into his deal with Philadelphia with the expectation that the Sixers would explore trade options for him. Apparently, Philadelphia and James Harden have agreed that it's not in either side's best interest for him to return next year and play basketball for Philly. Again, I want to make sure you understand exactly what I'm saying. James Harden has opted into the last year of his deal. He had a player option for about $36 million, but his years in Philadelphia are pretty much, his time there is done. Him opting in, there's clearly an understanding that the Sixers plan on trading Harden. So for any team out there, they don't have to sign James to a new deal right now. In theory, you could play out the last year of this deal, see what you like in Harden, or if you don't like Harden, and then from there, give him an extension. I don't know, maybe a team would be willing to give Harden an extension right now. Speaking of teams, who's going to be interested in the services of James Harden? According to Woj at ESPN, right now, it appears that the two front runners are the Los Angeles Clippers and the New York Knicks. Obviously, two big market teams, which that's a big piece of this puzzle that I want to get to in a second. For the Clippers, we've seen what happened to them this postseason. If you're Philadelphia, I think the big piece to this is, can you get back a star caliber guy? Will this be about role players? If you're Philadelphia, are you going to be looking at a Terrence Mann, or can you squeeze a Paul George away from Los Angeles in a Harden trade? Okay, swing over to New York. Obviously, the Knicks are right there. I believe any trade for James Harden, you got to believe, will incorporate an R.J. Barrett. Number one, they play similarly. They're both left-handed guys that are looking to control and dominate the basketball. I oftentimes compared R.J. Barrett to James Harden because they're both lefties with similar packages. James obviously one of the best to ever do it as a left-handed scorer. But you get the comparisons right there. I'm more interested in what Philadelphia will work out in a deal for James Harden. I'm not really that big on Harden, the player. He had a really good season last year. I want to be the first to say, because I didn't think James got enough credit for what I thought was an all-star year. I had him as an all-star over Tyrese Halliburton. But I want to be clear about this at the same time. You can win regular season games with Harden. You can't win big with him. That's just the reality of his career. That's a fair narrative in my estimations. So now James will likely end up in a big market in Los Angeles or New York. It feels like, it appears that the Houston thing was a bluff to try to get some more money out of Philadelphia. And the Sixers appear just to not be interested in giving James a 4-year, $203.4 million deal, which is the max that he could command from the Sixers. So keep that out there. I want to speak on this one thing, though. There's been a new phenomenon in the NBA. The Sixers don't have to trade James Harden to wherever he wants to go. Clearly, he wants to be in big market cities like New York, LA. He's a superstar, very popular guy, by the way. They don't have to do that. But there is an understanding under the table that they're going to do that, which has kind of become the new no trade clause in the NBA. The only guy that technically has a no trade clause is Bradley Beal. But many, many, many times over the years, we've seen guys get these kind of under the table no trade clauses. We're only going to trade you to where we think you will want to go, or where you tell us you will want to go, which is kind of in a lot of ways a no trade clause. So over the years, I feel like the barometer to get this like under the table no trade clause has shrinking less and less. It used to be, okay, a guy gave his entire 12 years of his career to an organization, we're going to do right by him. Okay, a guy gave the first half of his career, his prime years, all his good years to us, we're going to do right by him as he goes and chases a championship. In a situation like James Harden, the Sixers are going to do right by James Harden, and he only played 2 years there. That feels a little ridiculous to me. And didn't win big. Matter of fact, never got out of the second round with the Sixers. But now Philly's going to acquiesce to what he wants. I want to be fair. Obviously, there's something there with Daryl Morey being a VP over in Philadelphia. He was obviously James's general manager and pretty much VP in Houston as well. They have a relationship. Obviously, if you look at the Sixers, their ownership group in the past, that group has been a very pro player ownership group. Obviously, a lot of James Harden's friends oftentimes do business with Michael Rubin, who was the previous owner. I'm sure he still got some weight within that organization, even though he sold his stake. I'm just saying there's a lot of relationships that are clearly favoring James Harden, who's going to get to pretty much choose his next destination despite not having a no-trade clause and never winning big with Philadelphia, only being there for a couple years. So y'all let me know what y'all think about James apparently on the move to Los Angeles or the Big Apple, as it appears the Clippers and Knicks have emerged as the front runners to land James. He will likely be traded in the upcoming days here as he opts into his player option. Clearly just didn't see the market to command that top dollar, which is what he wanted. Now he's moving on from Philadelphia. Welcome to NBA offseason 2023. You're in great hands with Hoops Pharaoh. There's no network behind me. There's no budget behind me. Just straight grind and hoops talk. If you don't want to miss a beat this offseason from trades, free agent signings, and draft talk, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Let's run these numbers up. It's free $99 to show me that you support the grind. Let's go.